little bit earlier today. He's off to a great start still. He's 6-1, as is Michael Majors. And round number 8 about to be underway here from the Queen City. Michael just looks happy to be here. Just a ball of excitement as he cycles his street wraith.
Yeah, he's been a real ray of sunshine all day.
Happy-go-lucky Michael Majors.
Every round he walks up to us just looking downtrodden, a little bit distraught. We're like, man, what happened?
I won.
I won again.
Yeah.
What's the problem, man? Now I have to keep playing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's tough road to hoe.
Yeah.
For the Team Genesis member, it really is.
You know, I'm just better than everyone else here.
He's very good.
Showed up with one of the best decks in the room, and now I'm winning a lot. What I don't, Michael, I don't understand.
You know, it's tough because what it sounds like to me is he's going to cycle street with this. He just hasn't had a trip to Applebee's in a while. That's what it is.
Is that what he needs?
Club B's is his joint. That's what he loves, and he just hasn't been for a while.
Well, we're going to give him a pick-me-up tonight.
Yeah, a healthy beat on NBA Jam later tonight.
I expect to be on the receiving end of this.
No. We're not allowed to lose to him. I know you're new to this. We're not allowed to lose to him.
Well, it's possible I could smack him in the hand with a hammer.
Okay.
And I think it will greatly help our chances.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
I'm not. Apparently, it's like the tournament edition, and him and Tom were practicing yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what that even means.
Ridiculous. Golgari Thug and a prize amalgam, the discards here from Faithless Looting.
That's a problem.
It's a good start there for Josh Robinson.
Yeah, sometimes we see these dredge decks take a little bit to get going, but this has the potential to just be the explosive start, depending on how this first dredge goes.
Scalding Tarn here from Major is going to bring him down to likely 10. There's a Steam Vents. Let's see what comes next here for Majors. The follow-up is Tassiger. Whole graveyard down, 4/5 on the battlefield. As early as turn 2. Easy breezy. Here comes the Golgari Thug.
That was quick.
Light from the Loam, Narcomoeba. Bloodstained Mire, Narcomoeba.
Oh, mama.
Dredge is dredging. Prize Amalgam trigger. Hopefully Josh Robinson doesn't forget that. You typically see players pull that Prize Amalgam over to the side. Make sure they don't forget. Though he has announced the trigger there. He'll play a land. That's a Wooded Foothills. And he'll sacrifice the Wooded Foothills. Fall down to at least 17, maybe a little bit lower.
Yeah, we see each of these players just executing their game plan very effectively.
You know, a big appeal to dredge. We've talked about this a little bit today, but also talking to some players this weekend like Ross Merriam and Jim Davis. They love having game one.
Yeah. Just no one showing up with any graveyard hate for game one.
Yep.
I mean, there's some random oozes, the scoos running around. But other than that, no one's ready for this deck game one.
Yeah.
And they pick up a lot of easy wins in game one.
It's a real appeal to this deck. You just get to kind of say, you know, a high percentage of the time, not all the time. Sometimes you mulligan in Oblivion. Sometimes you do play against the Scavenging Ooze, whatever. But I'm up 1-0, and I just got to figure out how to get a sideboard game. So the appeal of dredge across basically all formats is you might see a Cathartic Reunion here from Josh Robinson.
Yeah, this is the start.
And there that powerful red card is. Discarding 2 cards in Thug and Loam. So we're going to see a healthy amount of dredging here. We're going to start with the Thug. 4 cards. Narcomoeba, Collective Brutality, Stinkweed Imp, and a Wooded Foothills. Next up is Stinkweed Imp. So, 5 cards. Faithless Looting, Bloodghast, Collective Brutality, Cathartic Reunion, and Stinkweed Imp. And 5 more.
Jeez.
Rise Amalgam times 2, Copperline Gorge times 2, and a Mountain. So, 3 prize amalgams should be coming back this turn, so long as Josh again remembers.
4 p.m. Modern Challenge players. Pairings for the next round are
and there he goes reaching for the graveyard. So, amalgams, one of the battlefield tapped. 1, 2, 3.
It's a zombie disaster.
It is. Michael Major's going to draw a card. Be a really good time for an Anger of the Gods.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to wait for game 2 for that to happen.
Yeah. I'm going to find main deck copies of that card this weekend.
Well, and all of these Death Shadow decks have moved away from Teamer Battle Rage.
Yeah.
Which is one of the cards that they can combine with a very large Death Shadow to just roll over the speed bumps. You know, Dredge is a deck that's just very effectively getting creatures in front of the opponent's creatures turn after turn.
Narcomoeba going to do a little bit of blocking, pardon me. The follow-up here for Mr. Majors. He is unsure. He will untap.
The pump fake.
Well, he's got to figure out a way to navigate this because keep in mind he's already at 10 and the opponent has 11 power on the battlefield. This is Death Shadow. And we're going to go over to Josh Robinson, who will untap. It's time to dredge. Typically, I would say draw, but he will be dredging. Life from the Loam.
This is not an easy game 1 for Mike.
No, he's got some work to do here. A couple lands are going to come back here for Josh Robinson, a Wooded Foothills, a Copperline Gorge, and a Basic Mountain. So Loam is done resolving. There's the Copperline Gorge on the battlefield untapped. Bloodghast, how we doing? Pretty hasty. The one thing you'll note that's a little bit different here for Josh's deck list are just the main deck copies of Collective Brutality. 4 of them, mind you, which is quite a few.
And he just moves in.
Yeah, might as well. 10 damage is coming through if Majors doesn't have anything, and he does not, so he's going to concede the game. Josh Robinson very easily going to win game number 1 here with Michael Majors. Dredge quickly and efficiently up a game over Grixis. Death's Shadow. To the sideboards we're going to go, and this is where things will change, as we'll take a look at Michael Majors. He's already going to the board. We'll do it as well. 3 Collective Brutality, 2 Nile Spellbound, 2 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Stubborn Denial, 2 Liliana Lasso, 2 Anger of the Gods. Those are nice. Is it Staticaster? And hey, one we don't see a ton, a Ravenous Trap.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to see that one here. The Nile Spellbombs, and you had already mentioned these Anger of the Gods, which are very good in this matchup.
They're backbreakers in this matchup. They exile. They'll take care of prize amalgams for good, Bloodghast, all that good stuff. Nothing really survives them. So if Major's able to find one of those, I think it'll lead to a win more often than not.
Yeah.
Other side of things here for Josh Robinson, 2 Leyline of the Void, 2 Ancient Grudge, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Lightning Axe, 2 Abrupt Decay, and the fun ofs in Nod to the Bone, Vengeful Pharaoh, Maelstrom Pulse, Dark Blast, and a Ghost Quarter.
Yeah, I like the Leyline of the Void here. I mean, we've seen that card just be so effective against the Grixis deck in particular. They have a real difficult time when they can't use Snapcaster Mage or play into their dredge creatures. So I definitely want to see those come in. It's question marks about some of these other cards. He might want some of the removal. Vengeful Pharaoh seems solid but not insane. The question is if he wants to trim that many cards out of his main deck.
You still always want to keep things intact with Dredge. You don't want to over-sideboard too much. That's always been the case through all versions of this deck across all formats, Vintage, Legacy, Modern like we're watching right now, and even was kind of a deck in Standard way back when. So we'll see how Josh does sideboard. But game 1, that was on the house. And that's why people like the deck.
Yeah.
Super easy. No one was able to stop him from doing his thing, and he got himself a W. So we'll see if he's able to win game number 2 here, as Majors looks like he's just about finished sideboarding, and Josh is just finishing up. So let's talk about SCG Game Night, shall we? The very popular promotion. Thanks to all of our tournament organizers and all of our players who have made it that way. And in the month of June, as you've seen on our lapels here this weekend, it's Murderous Redcap. That is a fish on that Goblin Rogue's head.
Red Carp.
Jeez.
Man. Unbelievable.
Jeez.
Unbelievable.
Oh, my gosh.
What is this, your first day behind the microphone?
Oh, my gosh. Murderous Red Carp. Burn this tape. Let's go. We'll go to July. See if I can get this one right. Goose of Saintcraft. Got it. I feel bad. My brand department's going to give me some flack for this one. And now I'll get this one right for August. Puggernaut, because it's our favorite one for the year.
Yeah, that's a sweet one.
Pins and tokens. So much more. Go to StarCityGames.com/game night for more information. Store organizers, get in touch with an organized play representative. We can get this out to your store. And we want to thank again all of our tournament organizers and players for making this a popular promotion that it has been. Murderous Red Carp, not Cap. I'm embarrassed. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'll be right back on the horse. It's all right.
I was about to say, we'll regroup.
Yep.
You know, maybe take 5-10 minute break, shake it off.
Yep. Tape burned, so
Yep.
that's good. Looks like Major's going to take a mulligan while Josh Robinson looks like he's going to keep. We can learn a little bit more about Michael Majors here. I'll tell you right now, it should be on his fact sheet. Best hair. #1 hair.
You're a fan of this.
I don't care what anyone says. #1 hair.
He keeps it on point.
#1 hair. Now they're
on fleek. Is that what the young kids
that's
say?
what they say. Yeah, I think it's on fleek. I don't really know what that means.
Neither do I.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of the slang nowadays is stupid. Fam.
Like our slang was any better.
Our slang was great. What's up, fam? Stop it. Grow up. Look how happy he is. 26-year-old from Evans, Georgia. 7 of the top 8s. 1 win many moons ago on the final day of an invitational. He won a Legacy Open. Aspires to own his own athletes franchise in the future. An amateur kayak enthusiast. He also loves to read a book. And he hates smiling in pictures. And look, he's very focused. He's very focused.
He didn't even get very descriptive with these.
He's very focused, Craig, okay?
Avid reader.
He's one of our guys.
Wow, that is just an engaging fact.
And he's underway.
I feel like I know him better now that I know he's an avid reader.
Well, he likes kayaking. Do you like kayaking?
Yeah, man.
There you go. You guys can bond over that, and you can learn about what he likes to avidly read.
I got my parents a kayak.
Opponent has a ley line of the void.
I know you want to come to my parents' place.
That's not true. I don't want to do anything with water ever.
On the lake.
No.
Where there's a kayak.
And water. No.
Don't worry about the water. Just water ski.
I'm not doing anything water related.
Oh.
Ever. Ever.
Did you have a bad water experience once?
Yes. Yes, I have.
Okay, but you don't want to talk about that.
No.
Okay. Understandable.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about ley line? Ley line of the void.
Ley line of the void. It's very good against Grixis because they use their graveyard for things.
They use their graveyard for everything.
He couldn't discard because of the ley line. That's a smile. That's a smile. Hello. It's late in the tournament. It's late in the tournament, and they're going to try to have to repair this game state because he started things off with a ley line on the battlefield. He kept 7. Ley line comes in, that's 6. Draw a card. So, Aquardo. We'll see what they're going to do about this.
Yeah, we saw Majors flash a look at the judge there, kind of what's happening here. He clearly passed his turn.
Yeah, he just discards Stinkweed Imp. That was it. So, I guess it's just going to be in the graveyard because I don't know if there's any way to repair. You can see the judge having a little conversation. Majors is explaining what he did on his turns, which was basically fetch. I think he was going to fetch again with a Scalding Tarn, so nothing has actually really happened. So we'll see if we can repair this game state, but while they figure that out, we're coming back to the booth. We're gonna talk to us. Happens, man. Magic is complicated.
Yeah, no, you do see, it's unfortunate, but you do see things like this happen from time to time because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And you make so many shortcuts to make the game easier. And it's when you make too many shortcuts that these mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of times in the mid to late game, you'll see someone ask their opponent almost every turn, how many cards are in your hand, so that they can keep track of that.
Yep.
But on turns 1 and 2, you just don't do that.
You never ask. Ever. It basically never happens because why would you? You know, it's weird, right? Because we didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Josh played a ley line, discarded a Stinkweed Imp, and it's like, oh, that makes sense. You know, he's going to start dredging that way. A lot of dredge players are on the draw. They just discard one of their first cards so they can get the dredge engine online. And maybe he has lands, maybe he doesn't. So didn't even think anything of it. Majors didn't think anything of it. And Josh thought he could do it. And all of a sudden it's like, actually, you put a ley line in, you kept 7, and so you can't discard.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see how they repair that game state. But Josh demonstrating exactly why dredge is such a potent deck in this format. Game 1, for the most part, you know, Majors really can't do anything.
No, and that game 1 start is definitely above average start.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
But we see how non-interactive it is. The opponent can't do a whole lot. You're just dredging back the same dudes each turn.
Yep.
And you're getting free creatures the whole time.
Yeah, and, you know, Majors played a turn 2 Tasker, which is a great start.
Yes.
It's, you know, not the best start his deck can have. You can have a Death Shadow as early as turn 1 sometimes, and Gurmag Angler, so on and so forth, but you're not upset at a turn 2 Tasker, and that was outclassed immediately, and Majors was conceding by the third turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that game was over. So, again, that's part of the appeal of playing Dredge. Now, with Dredge, it's all about, can I get a sideboard game? And that's why you see in their sideboard a lot of 2s and 1s to be able to diversify against a lot of different things, as we saw in Jim Davis's match, just the last round. You know, he played against 2 copies of Rest in Peace.
Yep.
1 Maelstrom Pulse took care of that. He was able to get his engine online in just the nick of time.
Oh, man.
And then he was able to get a win. So, You know, I don't know if this is the best deck, and maybe people should have more hate for this deck, but it's definitely a very, very good deck.
It feels like the best game one deck.
For sure, for sure.
You know, and it took a while for them to start playing 4 Conflagrate.
Mm-hmm.
I see 3 in this list with 1 Dark Blast.
Yep.
But I think that was one of the tipping points, was adding that extra interaction, that extra threat. I mean, it deals with so many of the problems in the format. It slows the opponent down for a turn. I think that was a big component to the deck. For a long time, they only had 1, maybe 2,
yep.
and it was used more as just a fireball effect to throw the last few cards in your hand at the opponent's face. And now it's used to just buy the extra 1 or 2 turns to keep dredging and go wide and kill them that way.
And part of the appeal of that card as well, too, you know, Conflagrate, it's got a lot of uses in the deck. It's a finisher, it can kill some creatures, so on and so forth, whatever. But at the same time, what happened with this deck is kind of interesting. You take a look at how we got to this point. At the beginning, it was Bridge from Below.
Yes.
And all these other things with just this particular version of Modern. They had Bridge from Below, you know, various other things. And as people kind of massaged the list, they moved away from Bridge from Below and some other things. They realized, you know, we're more of a Conflagrate deck. We're more of a kind of grind you out, put Amalgam and some other stuff back on the battlefield deck, and not so much about, you know, explosive things with Bridge. And I think that's what's going to end up happening to the Counters Company deck, is people are kind of massaging still.
Yeah.
What they should and shouldn't be doing. We see these versions that are pretty straightforward. 4 Eternal Witness, 4 Company, 4 Chord, 4 Devoted Druid, some 1-mana Accelerants, which are awful to hit off of Collected Company for the most part, 4 Finks, like one win condition, generally just one, like a couple copies of Duskwatch Recruiter, 1 Walking Ballista.
Sure.
Some number of Viscerous here. Some people have the Malira combo still in the deck because of Kitchen Finks. Whatever. There's a lot of different ways you can go, but I still think that, you know, people are going to get their hands on the deck online and then some real-life events and figure out what the best way to go about doing business is, much like they did with Dredge, because now this is kind of the accepted list.
Sure. And I think one thing for the Counters Company deck is potentially moving away from Collected Company.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you play Collected Company, you just want to jam as many creatures as possible into your deck. And maybe if you take away that restriction, you start playing Traverse the Uvenwald to find your Silver Bullets or the last piece of your combo that you need. And then you can play some discard effects to protect your creatures, maybe a little more removal, and have more interaction and a different game plan to the deck.
Yeah, fair enough. Back to the feature match we're going to go. We'll explain the ruling here as we do head back down there. They're going to rewind the game. A warning will be given. Basically, they're rewinding the game to the card being back in his hand because he couldn't discard it, of course. A warning given, and now we just continue play. So everything looks like it's where it should be.
Yeah.
Say that.
And this is oftentimes what they'll try to do if the game state hasn't progressed past a certain point. You know, this was very repairable, so they repaired it.
But can Mr. Majors beat a Leyline of the Void?
I think he's still in a lot of trouble here.
He's a 10. That's not very much. Josh, is he just going to try to discard Stinkweed? No, yeah, I had a feeling he had a land. He's just going to play Blackcleave Cliffs. Pass the turn back. Aha! Little Snapcaster.
A little Ambush Viper?
Yeah, a little 2-1. Let's go.
A little Goblin Piker.
Yeah. In for 2. Major's going to, well, never mind. Lightning Axe is going to kill that. And discarding a Stinkweed. That's where we are now. Now, Majors does have a copy of Stubborn Denial. Could have used that to counter it. It looks like he has a copy of Nile Spellbound, which he can use to remove the graveyard.
Yeah, I like the Nile Spellbound. Josh has spent so much time and really done a lot of work to try to get this Dredger into the graveyard.
Looks like Majors is going to let him dredge, maybe build up a bigger graveyard here. So, 5 cards. Bloodstained Mire, Haunted Dead, Leyline of the Void, Golgari Thug, Faithless Looting. Is that juicy enough? And that's the question. When you see a Haunted Dead in the graveyard, you maybe assume that your opponent has another land, and you want to go after it. Faithless Looting is good enough to take sometimes. But the second land here for Josh is a Dakmor salvage, so he can't actually activate the Haunted Dead.
Nile Spellbomb is one of the most difficult cards to figure out the perfect time to use against the Dredge deck.
Yeah, because it just sits there, but you also want to leave black mana available to be able to draw a card, all that stuff. It's very, very good.
But it's just one-time use.
Mm-hmm.
And once they've got 2, 3, or 4 lands in play, oftentimes they can just rejuice the graveyard really quick.
Here's the Serum Visions for Michael. He'll draw a card. Now he'll scry 2. Thoughtseize, Polluted Delta. The cards he's looking at here. Looks like he may have finally found a copy of Death Shadow. And that's Majors' avenue to victory now.
Yeah.
Is that Death Shadow. Because Tassiger and Grimag Angler? Nope.
He probably has a couple more Goblin Pikers in that deck.
Yeah, true. Snapcaster Mage can help get some work done.
I mean, he was pretty lucky that it sucked up the removal spell that it did.
Yeah. Top and bottom, let's split the difference on the scry. I imagine he put the Polluted Delta on top. Now, there will be a dredge here of the Thug. Top 4 cards here, Life from the Loam among them. And now Joss will just pass the turn back. There's a land. We'll see a Death Shadow. Yes. And I think Majors will just pass. Now, one thing we want to take a look at here is Haunted Dead. Because I think that's what Josh is reaching for in the graveyard. He's actually going to reach for Loam for dredging, but we'll still take a look at Haunted Dead, Prized Amalgam, Conflagrate, and Dakmor Salvage. Because Haunted Dead's cost is 1 in a black and discard 2 cards.
Yep.
Colon. Once that part resolves, then you get it back. So in order to resolve Haunted Dead, you have to discard the cards first.
Yep.
And that's when you can blow the Nile Spellbomb and get everything. So that's why we haven't seen Majors, I think, blow that Nile Spellbomb just yet.
Yes. That's definitely part of it. We also see Majors have a Ravenous Trap in his hand.
Oh, okay.
So he's able to be super patient here with these 2 cards. Going to force Josh to make the first move. And then he's got plenty of answers for the graveyard.
Michael going to get a Blood Crypt.
Once again, a reminder, Magic players, we are
He's got to
still
be
taking signups for tomorrow morning.
maybe a little careful, only because there's a Conflagrate in the graveyard.
Yeah, there is a Conflagrate. Josh is kind of hamstrung on lands here. We saw him get back that Life from the Loam that he can't cast. Conflagrate, double red to flash back. He can't do that right now.
An Inquisition at Kozilek here from Majors. Going to target Josh Robinson. Stinkweed Imp ×2. Thug. Amalgam. Imp number 3. Vengeful Pharaoh. Doesn't want to be in the hand. And Life from the Loam.
The wrong spot for that, man.
Major's going to take a look at the Vengeful Pharaoh. Does a nice job of killing Tassiger. Death Shadow. Just those big creatures.
Yeah, everything that hits you that takes multiple hits to get you.
Mm-hmm. See, the casting cost, the power of toughness, and the death touch, that doesn't really matter. That doesn't really work itself into the equation very often. It's whenever combat damage is dealt to you or a Planeswalker you control, if Vengeful Pharaoh is in your graveyard, destroy target attacking creature. Then put Vengeful Pharaoh on top of your library. So that's what it's there for.
Yeah, and when you're interested in just dredging every single turn, it always ends up back in the graveyard, unless you awkwardly draw it in the early turns.
Which would be awkward, like what we're seeing here.
And then don't have a convenient way to discard it.
See what card Majors wants to poke a hole in here with this Inquisition. He's going to go with a Stinkweed Imp. We might see Blood Crypt here in just a second.
It looks like a Stubborn Denial also in Major's hand.
That's pretty good too.
So he can really get aggressive with this Death Shadow and just make sure he kills his opponent in 2 swings.
Means he can get pretty aggressive with this Blood Crypt. He's going to fall down to 5. Boy, he is getting real aggressive now. Here's a Thoughtseize. Don't take the Vengeful Pharaoh. Unless you're going to Nile Spellbomb it away. Another Stinkweed Imp gone. Death Shadow Thump. Is that a 10 ball?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, 2 attacks. This is where he wanted to be.
Yep, that's where he is. You mentioned Stubborn Denial, Ravenous Trap. Those are the cards there for Michael Majors. Working his way through Leyline of the Void easily. Josh Robinson, he would like to do some dredging. But instead he's going to draw and I think hope for a red source. That is a red source.
That is a red source.
He's going to attempt a conflagrate. Unfortunately for Josh, he played to his outs very well here.
Yes.
And he's got to discard cards to pay the cost. He's going to discard them all, but Michael Majors, I believe, as he's going to remove the graveyard here and draw a card, will now use a Stubborn Denial to counter that and end Josh's hopes of winning this particular game. But even though Josh doesn't win that game, very smart to realize he needed to draw a red source here to have a shot.
Yep.
I'm very impressed by that as Michael Majors has the timely counterspell, and we get ready for a third and final game here between the two of them.
Well, and that was one of the awkward games for the Dredge player. He didn't hit any Narcomoebas. He didn't hit any Blood Gas, so he was just spinning his wheels. He could never force his opponent to Spellbomb right away, so he's always just staring into the teeth of this Nile Spellbomb. And Majors just, perfect setup. Get my Death Shadow to 10-10, have multiple ways to interact with you, and kill you in 2 quick attacks.
Made it look pretty easy there, did Majors, even though there's Leyline of the Void involved. And I'm curious if we see cards like Tassiger and Gurmag Gingler stay in the deck or come out of the deck. Even though Josh Robinson's not changing his sideboard, Majors is addressing his. Would you leave in those big creatures that you have to delve with?
I can see him shaving these cards. He's definitely worried about drawing a bunch of them. They're already not great to draw in multiples. You see the Leyline of the Void coming out of the opponent's deck, and you kind of assume that they have 4 of them. We see only 2, and I bet if Michael knew that Josh only had 2, he wouldn't be as worried about it.
Yeah, only 2 Leylines. You do assume that there are normally 3 or 4 in the sideboard, so we'll see how he likes to sideboard, but while they do get ready, you see him shuffling up. Josh may be consulting something a little bit here, but focusing in on a very important game number 3 for him. Let's talk about that StarCityGames.com YouTube page where you can watch Split Second by Jeremy Noel versus series with Brad Nelson, Todd Anderson, Michael Majors, Tom Ross, Ross Merriam, the Commander versus series with Jeremy Noel once again. He's a busy guy. Along with John Suarez, Stephen Green, the American Dream, that is, and Justin Parnell. He does his thing. Great host of the show. You got Magic Online playtesting with Jerry Thompson. I screwed that up again. Pro Tour Amonkhet champion, Jerry Thompson.
There it is.
There we go.
Just a little exclamation point in there.
There we go.
Bang.
Pro Tour Born of the Gods champion, Sean McLaren. Pro Tour Khans of Tarkir champion, Ari Lax.
So you've got some real amateurs on the website is what you're telling us.
And then I make some too.
Yeah.
I make some too.
The same level of content?
Oh, yeah. Best of SCG Tour and a whole bunch more. Becoming one of over 117,000 subscribers. Thank you, wonderful people, for that.
You still have the unboxings going on there?
No, we've moved away from that a little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. That was fun for a little while. Everything in doses. Cathartic Reunion. I would Stubborn Denial that if I were Michael. He actually has it. Now, this is, good or whatever, but it's not actually great.
Yeah, it's not even that good.
Yeah, because, the Stinkweed Imps are still in the graveyard. So it's actually kind of necessary for him to have it. Otherwise, he would get, annihilated.
Yes.
It'd be really bad.
It'd be so much dredging this turn.
Yeah. So Majors has countered a Cathartic Reunion, and now the question is, does he have something like a Nile Spellbomb, maybe his Optimal sideboard cards, as we make our way to his second turn of the game? I'm sure he'd love to get rid of those 2 Stinkweed Imps if he can. Can't really tell who this matchup favors. It seems very close.
Well, it's a lot of fun post-board. The game 1 is all about the dredge deck.
The hand here from the Thoughtseize, 2 more copies of Cathartic Reunion and a Collective Brutality.
That's a hand right there.
That can play.
You see a big sigh and a shrug out of Majors.
I think he's going to take Reunion number 1. I think he's got another discard spell here. He might want to take that other Cathartic Reunion because that just lets Josh kind of go into overdrive.
Yes, for sure.
And then you just kind of got to hope, I think, that the dredges aren't too good. Major's going to sacrifice Scalding Tarn.
Yeah, that's always the case, though, right? He can't stop the dredging, but he can stop him from dredging, 20 cards next turn.
So Majors looks like he's already down to 12. It's an Inquisition, I believe. Yes, it is. All right. Cathartic Union down. Josh is left for the Collective Brutality, folks. And now it's time to dredge. Top 5, Lightning Axe, Bloodghast, Gemstone Mine, Bloodghast, Dakmor Salvage, which can get back those Bloodghast. Looks like we might see a Collective Brutality. We will. So this will be the Duress effect plus a, what do we want to call that, a Vicious Hunger?
Yeah, oh, sure.
Yeah. Deal 2, gain 2, so Major's going to lose his Serum Visions.
Ooh, Soul Siphon, that's what it was.
That's better, that's better.
There it is.
Major's left with a Death Shadow, which is online. And this is that, oh, wow, what a draw. Ooh, what a draw that Anger of the Gods was.
Yeah, that's a great insurance piece.
Well, it's just Josh is, not that Josh can really do anything about it, but he's not going to see that coming. That was a perfect draw for Majors. And now for Josh, he's going to dredge Dakmor Salvage. He'll dredge 2, Black Eve Cliffs and a Golgari Thug. He gets a land back. He'll play that land, which means Bloodghast will come back. Now those Bloodghast do have haste. That's all well and good.
You almost don't want to attack with them.
I don't love attacking with them. Death Shadow is standing strong here.
Yeah, with no hand, very few resources to work with. You're just putting the Death Shadow player in the driver's seat.
Down to 6 goes Majors. He'll draw. We can't forget about the Is It Staticaster too that can check those things.
Yep.
Major's going to take a look at the old graveyard here.
Yeah, he's going to be able to sandbag that Anger of the Gods for a long time.
Oh, yeah. He is in nice shape with that card.
Well, this is a big Death Shadow. He's got it all going on.
7-7 in. Thump. Robinson going to fall down to 15. And Majors can just very patiently pass the turn back. We'll see a dredge here of Stinkweed Imp. Top 5 cards, Bloodghast, Narcomoeba, Prized Amalgam, Stinkweed Imp. That's a lot of Bloodghast. That's a lot of Bloodghast. Major's got to be careful. Going to play Stinkweed Imp. Will Josh. Bloodghast going to come in here, and now Michael, his hand's almost forced to play the Staticaster?
Yeah, he doesn't want to go to 4 because there's still 2 Bloodghast in the bin.
Uh-huh. 3. He's got them all.
Oh, he's got all of them?
Yeah, 3 in the bin, 1 on the battlefield.
So even if he found a blocker at some point.
What makes this tough is I think you got a Staticaster here. Play it. You can just block, shoot down Narcomoeba. It's not so bad. But Majors needs to make it so that Bloodghast are gone for good.
Yes.
Because Josh can just say, I'll take a draw step.
Yeah.
And then if he hits a draw step and he finds a land, then 4 Bloodghast come back from the graveyard onto the battlefield with haste to kill him. And now this Death Shadow that's on the battlefield because of Stinky can't really attack. Interesting.
Yeah, this is fun. Just a lot of decisions to make here.
What's also difficult too is, okay, if I'm Majors, I could reason with myself maybe, okay, I'm going to cast Anger of the Gods, try to win over the course of 2 turns. But he's going to start by Thought Scouring himself. So Gurmag, Angler, and Serum Visions go to the graveyard. Majors will draw cards, a copy of Steam Vents, which can grow that Death Shadow. Steam Vent's going to enter the battlefield tapped. Haven't said that much. Now just pass the turn.
Yeah, I don't think he's interested in growing that Death Shadow right now.
Stinkweed Imp going to be dredged. Narcomoeba, Vengeful Pharaoh, Narcomoeba. Ooh, Conflagrate, Leyline of the Void. Narcomoeba's onto the battlefield. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Another Stinkweed Imp's going to come down. Any Amalgams down there? Don't think so. Now the Vengeful Pharaoh makes things difficult too because now it's one shot. This game has gotten pretty tough. Narcomoeba's down. Josh Robinson is putting up one heck of a fight here.
Yeah, and Josh can potentially start chipping away in the air with Imp.
But that's risky too. Because you're chipping away is only making the Avatar angry.
That is true.
So here's what I think Michael's plan is. I think the plan is I can't really attack, especially with Vengeful Pharaoh in the graveyard. So I have to basically play 2 threats. That'll be lethal, like a Death Shadow plus the Gurmag Angler, or 2 Death Shadow, and then cast Anger of the Gods to kill your stuff and then kill you in one attack.
Sure.
I think that's what it's about now. There's a polluted Delta.
It's tough. He doesn't have a lot of resources to work with right now. So he might not be able to just pick and choose how the game plays out.
So now he's just going to pass. The tough thing for Josh, though, is he doesn't have a lot of options either, because a lot of the dredges now don't matter.
Yeah.
Most of the Narcomoebas are gone. 3 of the 4 are gone, but they would just die to his Staticaster. Amalgams matter a little, but not a ton. And then...
Well, he needs a land to get back the Blood Gas.
Blood Gas, so he'd have to take a draw step and not dredge. And he doesn't have any green mana for Life in the Loam.
Yep.
So I'm curious if Josh is ever going to change his game plan and just say, I'll draw a card.
Well, I believe that's what he did this turn.
Okay. Now, if he did draw, I'm not sure what he drew. Haven't got a good look at it yet, but he is fanning through that graveyard, and we cannot forget about that Conflagrate in the graveyard either, which means that Majors just does not have a lot of time.
Yes.
It looks like Josh is going to just pass the turn back. Looks like Majors is going to shoot Blood Gas. That's basically a freebie. Michael will draw. Scanning those graveyards. All the Blood Gas are down there.
Well, with the fetch land, I think Majors thought a long time last turn about just playing the Anger of the Gods and setting his opponent up to die in 2 attacks. And just risking the land off the top from the opponent.
Serum Visions, here off a Snapcaster Mage. Draw. Scry 2. Snapcaster and Street Wraith is what he looked at. I think Snapcaster went to the top. All right, Stinkweed Imp. Dredge 5, Narcomoeba, Amalgam, Mountain, Haunted Dead.
Haunted Dead's a good one.
Haunted Dead is a good one. There'll be Amalgam Trigger. What a weird game. What a weird... And, oh, he's sandbagging a land.
That's smart.
Yep. That is really smart. I love the way Josh is playing this game.
Yeah, he didn't even play another Putrid Imp here.
I love the way he's playing this game. Majors will draw. Bloodstained Mire. Major's going to look through that graveyard again.
It's very possible he just runs back the play he made last turn.
Snapcaster Mage again.
Yeah. I believe he has another Serum Visions.
I think you're right.
And he's just digging for exactly what you said.
All in one turn.
Yeah.
What makes that a little bit difficult now, though, is the Haunted Dead. Now, realistically, the card that I think he's truly looking for is Nile Spellbomb.
Sure.
That puts this all to rest.
Yeah, anything to clean up the graveyard.
Yeah.
The Ravenous Trap.
Yep. That all makes it easy. Majors will pass. Josh. Haunted Dead? I'm a little surprised. Because he's discarding the land. Now he'll get a Spirit. But I'm a little surprised he's going to let that land go.
Yeah, and I don't think that Haunted Dead has a whole lot of impact.
I don't think it does either. The Spirit's okay, but the Stinkweed Imp could have been attacking.
Yeah,
so. And
the Spirit just gets picked off by the Staticaster.
Also true. Here's a Dredge. Dakmor Salvage guarantees Josh a land for Blood Gas now. And a bunch of other lands just went to the graveyard. One card in hand. Remember the Conflagrate down there for Josh Robinson. Very competitive game here in round number 8 between Majors and Robinson. Just one little stinky hit. A little nudge in the air.
Ding!
Yep.
Just poking.
Put him down to 5.
Just poking. Let him know that you're still on him.
Yep.
But 1 or 2 more of those, plus the conflagrate,
That's it.
closes out the game.
Uh-huh. Not going to play, it looks like, the Stinkweed Imp. Staticaster's going to shoot down the Spirit. Major's going to untap. He's still on the hunt for that Nile Spellbound. Found a copy of Death Shadow, excuse me. So that could be the second. That's the second piece to that particular puzzle.
Yes.
Remember the Dakmore salvage that's in Josh Robinson's graveyard now. Guarantees a land drop for the Bloodghast to get all 4 back.
It's a vampire party.
It would be.
Everyone's invited.
Yes. Major's treading very carefully here.
Yeah, I think if he just lives 1 more turn.
That seems like that would be it. You know, he's got to weigh what are all the other ways that I could go about losing this game.
Yes.
Ooh. Can he cycle Street Wraith? What? He can go to 3? What am I missing?
I don't know, but I think he just drew the Stubborn Denial off the top.
Now he may have put his deck like that.
Oh, sure. He might have known it was there.
Yeah.
From the Serum Visions.
All right, here's Anger, finally. I feel like I'm missing something, though. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm missing something. Because the Bloodghast get to come back, so what am I missing here, Craig? In for a bunch, obviously. Major's going to look through the... Is he just maybe hoping he'll miss the salvage? Another Death Shadow. All right, pass. He's got to go for that Dakmore salvage. Yeah, get that back. Okay. Play that. Get back all the Bloodghast. Two, 3, 4. Majors has a Thought Seize. Yeah, I think, he's just dead. Wow, I'm surprised. Ravenous Trap was the next
card? Of course
card?
It's the next card. Yeah, I think it was just a misstep by Major.
I feel like, that was a misstep.
He felt like he had to make a move.